Hi guys, it's SkintBoot here, and today what I'm going to be bringing you guys is the second episode of my Black Ops 3 Zombies Noclip exploration. Now, in the episode I'm going to be doing today, the map which is going to be the focus is, of course, Nacht Der Untoten. This was actually the first ever zombies map way back in Call of Duty World at War. However, this is indeed the remastered version that came with the Zombies Chronicles DLC for Black Ops 3. Now, if you are unfamiliar with what no-clipping is and why I have made a series out of it, no-clipping basically allows you to disable collision and essentially leave your body to fly around and go through walls and visit places which you would normally not be able to visit. Now, the first episode I did of this series, I covered Verrucht, and Verrucht is a very interesting map to do for Noclip. It was the first DLC map for zombies. However, I feel like Nacht Der Untoten kind of should have been first, and Verrucht should have been second, but hey ho, it doesn't matter. Either way, today what we're going to be doing is flying around Nacht Der Untoten in Black Ops 3 and seeing if there's any little secrets or little pieces of interesting map design or Easter eggs or unused assets that were not present in the original and you know, have been added in with the remastered version. Now, like this series and, you know, all the episodes beforehand, I'm going to begin by looking about what's inside the map. So we're going to take a look at parts of the map which is visible to the player, so things like this, and we are going to fly into them to see what the map holds, if there is anything interesting at all. So as I said, this little room right here is normally not accessible, and it was also not in the original. There was, I believe, possibly a carbine on this part of the wall here, because the Car 98 was down here. I think it was a carbine, correct me if I'm wrong. But this door and this little window into what appears to be some kind of electricity room was not present. But you can indeed walk inside this room. There is proper collision and everything. However, these two generators right here are actually not solid. As you can kind of see, I'm just walking through them. But yeah, that is that. That's the first room, something which was not present in the original of Nacht Der Untoten. So that's something which Treyarch added for, I don't know, aesthetic maybe, for immersion, something like that. I'm not really too sure. So the second part of the map which I want to get to is actually this little bit right over here. Now, right by this lovely dead World War II Nazi soldier who doesn't even have a swastika armband. He has the fuck, I forgot what it's called. It's the thing from Zombies. I'll never remember the name. But right by him, there is a door where you can buy grenades. Now, this little spot right here in the original Nacht Der Untoten, if you played it, was like the camping spot, because you couldn't really train in Nacht. It was way too small. So everyone would just sit in these corners right here. You'd have like a little triangle formation with the Browning, just fucking spraying. Anyway, there's a door here which was not present in the original, and through this door, we can indeed see the upper part of Nacht Der Untoten, which is not used. So this can be viewed in the normal part of the map. As you can see, you can kind of get a little glance up into what this bit of the map does look like, but obviously you can never really get up here. So what we're going to be doing is just flying around, covering each of the corners, just making sure that there is nothing overly interesting up here. Now, what you will notice is that this area up here is a hell of a lot cleaner on the floor than the rest of Nacht, because Nacht right here has all of this rubble, debris, it has footprints, it has bodies, it has broken props, things like that. This second floor right here is very, very clean. Now, there is indeed collision, however, it is very, very awkward. You can see it's like I'm walking in fucking quicksand or something. It's a bit like an ice rink. I will start sliding and picking up some speed. But yeah, you can walk on it, as you can see. It is all, you know, properly collided, apart from right there where it pushes me off. But yeah, that is indeed walkable, if that's the right word. So that's for anyone that was possibly wondering what that is. And also, these big ass lines right here, I believe happen when the player is somewhere where they shouldn't be, basically. That isn't some weird like discovery. That's literally just the the console or what have you, telling the developer, bruv, don't go up here, otherwise you're gonna die. So we've near enough looked at all of the spots inside the map. Unlike a lot of maps, because this was the first zombies map, there was a massive lack of things like corridors, you know, parts that are inside the map that looks like they lead off somewhere that aren't actually outside of the map, like these barricades right here, which are all outside of the map. So there isn't really a lot to cover inside in terms of like, oh, where does that go? Does that lead off somewhere? Because that all ties into outside of the map. So I won't let you wait any longer. We're gonna fucking go in and we're gonna have a look at some of the most interesting parts of Nacht Der Untoten. So first and foremost, this right here, this little barricade is indeed in the original Nacht Der Untoten, and this is where some of the zombies come out once you open this door to the box area. Now, through here, as you can see, is this weird little tunnel. Now, this tunnel remains largely unchanged from the original. However, we do have the addition of some of these vines, as you can see here. The texturing is obviously way, way better, and it is indeed solid because enemy AI has to walk down here. But right at the end of the tunnel, you can see that this part is actually solid, and there is kind of like a stretch texture that goes up all along. This lack of detail is something which you will notice from Treyarch maps, because they extend it to where the player can no longer see and ensure that immersion is never broken. So that is why there is a insane amount of detail on these rocks, and there's veins and stuff like that. But when you go all the way down here, it completely lacks lighting and everything of the sorts, because the player would never see it, and it is a waste on resources, especially considering how old and quite frankly shit the Call of Duty engine is. So that's the first part, and I thought that that might be somewhat interesting to you. So let's go upstairs and let's go beyond the barricades. Now, we are indeed outside on this platform, which was in the original. Nacht Der Untoten Remastered has the exact same layout. There is a general consensus that the map is largely the same, as in there's no new playable areas or anything of the sort. However, outside of the map has seen a lot of changes in terms of props. I believe this water was never here in the first place. There's like a few extra tanks, things like that. So what we're going to do is actually just kind of go for a run around the perimeter. Then we'll get into some more precise kind of things. But you can see here, a lot of these props are not solid. Like, for example, this tank right here. Again, these are not solid. You have some basic collision with these stone pillars. But the truck, these walls, things like that are not solid, and you can kind of run all the way out really and still actually have collision, you know, all the way out here as well with this water. This all has collision, and this is all absolutely fine. These rocks quite naturally do not have collision, and I believe this is indeed the edge of the map. But yeah, you can run around basically all of the outside, and again, this is largely due to the fact that zombies will have to walk on this pathway, as in they spawn all the way back here, they're going to have to walk over here, and if the player starts moving, they're going to have to change position. So obviously there needs to be collision basically everywhere. Now, one thing of interest to note is that this tank does not look rusty or damaged whatsoever. You compare it to these other tanks right here, which are kind of, you know, showing some major signs of wear, I guess you could say, with, you know, a lot of dust, a lot of gravel, shit like that on them. However, that tank over there is actually in pristine condition. It looks like it's never seen a battle in its life. Now, my guess as to why that is because from here you can't really see it all that well due to the fog, and I strongly believe that to basically make a model of a tank look dirty and everything like that would require a lot of effort. So I can imagine that Treyarch probably used just a clean model, because really we would never get an up-close shot of it. But this is the road, and as you can see, there are some zombies just kind of walking around and chilling. And this road, which leads all the way around, is solid. As I said, a lot of the map is solid on the outside. You will find a lot of the props aren't really solid, like this plane here, for example, is not solid. And you can kind of just waltz through it without any real effort. So yeah, these are the props. This is the plane, if you're ever wondering what the back end of it looks like. And it's modelled for the most part, which is quite nice. It does extend underground as well, like with a lot of these models, because they do exist under the map. That's why they're half in, half out sort of thing. So I can imagine that the model was created all the way and then just kind of put underneath the map somewhat. So yeah, that is the plane from the original. We got some petrol, I would assume, from the planes in here. Now, is there anything interesting? Like, are there any kind of bodies, anything like that? Well, no, not quite. The plane has seen some improvements, but it's still very much the same model. It's just had, you know, a bit of a texture overhaul and things like that. But yeah, all around here, all completely and utterly solid until you get to the edge of the map. There are a lot of these bits of the plane scattered around which don't hold any collision to them. This bit right out here by the box spawn is also solid. You can walk through, but some of these props are not solid, and I feel like I'm gonna have to touch on that tower because a lot of people seem to be interested about that. But the general vibe which you get from Nacht is that it's a very small map, as you can see. It's extremely small, and it heavily utilizes kind of illusion, as in like all of these trees which are lingering, if I can not go at 1,000,000 miles an hour, in the background, given the illusion of some kind of forest. But really you can see that these are just models which are floating, and surprisingly these models are actually 3D. They're not, you know, 2D mesh textures like some maps use, which is fairly interesting. But there's nothing really behind these rocks. That's the general consensus, that beyond the playable or the visible side of the map, there is nothing of real interest, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Same thing with these boxes, same thing with the interiors. There's nothing crazy hidden in them. And of course, things like the tanks don't have interiors. All the way out here, no interiors, and nothing that's kind of hidden way back. So yeah, that's kind of Nacht. I'll show you this big as tower just in case people are thinking that there's something lingering up here. There is not, and there's also no collision on it, so you can't climb it or anything fucking crazy like that. But it's fairly well modeled, as you can see. You know, quite sharp textures, besides from the satellites a bit iffy, and the railing. But like the floor, for example, quite high quality, and the rest of it is textured quite nicely, to be honest. So yeah, I think that just about covers the majority of Nacht. I don't really think there's any other parts to this building which some people are thinking about, or, you know, wondering if there's anything there. So in all essence, I think we've covered the majority of this map so far. And also, if you're wondering, there's nothing inside of the little dead zombies. So yeah, I believe that could well be Nacht. I'm just going to do a final kind of flyover just to double check that nothing's been missed out and someone is going to want to know what's over there or over here or something like that. One thing which I will bring up is that the fog seems to be an effect which is only kind of present until the very edges of the map. So once you fly past a certain way, the fog just kind of disappears. But when you look back on Nacht, there is the fog still there. However, your immediate vision does not have the fog in it. And I can imagine that's because it's probably like an asset. And once you go past the asset, obviously you get clear vision, which is kind of expected, really. So one final thing which I will touch on is the birds, in case anyone were wondering what the birds kind of look like. If I can catch up to it. They are just kind of 2D, as you can see. They're not fully modelled. They appear to be almost like a GIF or a GIF, however the fuck you want to say it. So no, they're not, you know, 3D modelled, nothing like that. They look to be just very low res, low quality birds that are flying around. But yeah, I think that just about covers the majority of the map. We're going to go for a little fly underneath just to see if there's anything lingering, because sometimes you get some weird leftover assets underneath the map that were never utilized for whatever reason. This part right here, as you can see, is I believe the part of the wall which is damaged. So as you can kind of see, the barrier in this way disappears to reveal this part of the wall. Now, this part of the wall is what's there when it has not been broken down, and this part underneath is essentially what replaces the not broken bit of the wall. It's stored under the map, if anyone is wondering. But we get like this murky black texture throughout basically all of underneath the map, which is fairly interesting. But as far as I can tell, there's nothing really left over. There's no unused assets, nothing like that. Things are popping out a lot, but I can safely say that there is nothing really hidden underneath the map in Nacht Der Untoten. So guys, I think that just about wraps up all we have for today's video. I do hope that you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did enjoy, then please do feel free to leave a like on it. And if you guys could also subscribe to MZK, then that'd be absolutely fantastic. And as always, I will see you guys on my next video. This is SkintBoot, signing out.